On my previous video, I made it very clear how unhappy I am with the art direction that this remaster is taking. I don't want you guys to think that I'm some kind of purist who think that this franchise is sacred and should not be touched. I do think it can be improved, and in that spirit, here are the 4 things that I believe could be implemented, added, or edited that will make the experience great for veteran players and newcomers. The first one is to give us free camera movement. This is something that is already implemented in Legacy of Kain Soul River 2, but not on the first one. On the first one, you can only move the camera left or right, or you need to go into third-person view so you can look around. It will be great to have the ability to just move the camera around freely like you can on pretty much most games at this point, and in fact the way that you can on Legacy of Kain Soul River 2. The second one is to have the ability to skip cinematics. And I know, I love these cinematics. These are some of the best we've ever seen in the video game industry. I love the dialogue in these games. I think they did an amazing job, but some of these cinematics are quite long, and after playing these games for a couple of times, especially the first one from Legacy of Kain Soul River 2, right after the cinematic one when Raziel is talking to Mobius, that one is quite long. But it's not the only one. There are many examples like this one, and after you play this game a couple of times, it gets tiresome to go through them over and over again. I think even though I love the content, I think it would help the game quite a bit to give us the option to just skip the cinematics. The third one is the way saving and loading your save files work on both games. So Legacy of Kain Soul River 1 lets you simply pause the game and save whenever you want. But loading the game always respawns you in the starting area. This is not a problem because you have portals that allow you to move around the world, and you have one very close to the starting area. But if you're, let's say, in the middle of a dungeon and you need to stop for whatever reason and you save and you go back to the main menu, or you need to close the game, when you jump back into the game, you're not going to be in that dungeon, you're going to be back in the starting area, and so there's going to be some backtracking. On the second one, you don't have the freedom to save anywhere you want. You need to reach these shrines or areas where you are allowed to save, and there are checkpoints between them and so forth, but you don't have the freedom to save anywhere you want. What I would love is to have a saving system similar to the first one, where you can save no matter where you are and what you're doing, but when you load the game, you have the option to choose either respawning at the starting area or respawning at the location where you created that save file. The fourth one is the controversial one, especially because of some of the things I said on the previous video in regards to lighting. I would love to see ray tracing implemented on these remasters. I think having accurate physics-based lighting could make these games look amazing. And again, I'm a little bit worried because one of the major complaints of the remaster so far has been how cartoonish and bright everything looks. Ray tracing will have to be tweaked and tuned so it looks right, but having actual dynamic lighting everywhere, I believe would make this game look insane. We've seen some amazing ray tracing implementations. We saw it in Control, a game that it just blew my mind when I saw it running with ray tracing. Cyberpunk looked great, but we also have path tracing implementations like Quake RTX, Portal RTX, even Minecraft, Doom 1 and 2. So we know how much of an impact having accurate and proper ray tracing implementation can have, and considering that these are all games, I think it is a missed opportunity to not include ray tracing on these remasters. In fact, it's one of the gripes that I had with the Tomb Raider remaster, because by the time that remaster came out, we already had a fan-made version of the game running with path tracing, which is called OpenLoRa. This is just a demo, but you can clearly see the massive impact the ray tracing can have on these games. And so I know there's a lot of hate towards ray tracing out there. I don't quite understand why, but again, I love new technology. I love the way ray tracing can make games look. This is the one that I think is the hardest one to implement, and like some people have mentioned on the other video, most likely at some point somebody's gonna take this project and run it through NVIDIA Remix and it will have path tracing, but it's something that I would love to see implemented from the get-go on release. And there you go, not a purist, 4 changes that I think can make this remaster better for veteran players and newcomers to this franchise. I'm curious, did I miss any features that you think can make this franchise better? Please let me know in the comments below.